My name is Adam, and what I'm about to tell you happened 3 years ago. Even now, I don't know what I saw, I don't know what it wanted, and I don't know why it chose me. All I know is that every night at exactly 3:07 a.m., it stood outside my window. It started shortly after I moved into a new apartment. The building wasn't old. In fact, it was one of the newer residential towers in the city, 12 floors, modern design, security cameras, key card access, the kind of place where nothing unusual was supposed to happen. I lived alone, no pets, no roommates, just me. The first few weeks were completely normal. I unpacked my things, got used to the neighborhood, started settling into a routine. Then one Tuesday night, everything changed. I remember checking the time before going to sleep, 11:42 p.m. I turned off the lights, closed my eyes, and drifted off. Then suddenly, I woke up. No loud noise, no nightmare, nothing. My eyes simply opened. For a moment, I was confused. The room was dark, silent. The only light came from the city outside. Then I looked at the clock beside my bed. 3:07 a.m. I remember the exact time because of what happened next. As I rolled over, my eyes drifted toward the window, and I froze. Someone was standing outside. At first, my brain refused to process what I was seeing. I lived on the 12th floor. There was no balcony, no fire escape, nothing outside the window except open air. Yet there was a person standing there, completely still, watching. My heart immediately started racing. I sat up in bed, certain that I wasn't seeing things. The figure didn't move. It stood several feet away from the glass, tall, thin, its face hidden by darkness. For several seconds, I couldn't breathe. I just stared, trying to understand how anyone could possibly be standing outside my apartment. Then I blinked, and it was gone. Just gone. No movement, no sound, nothing. 1 second it was there. The next it wasn't. I jumped out of bed and rushed to the window. The street below was empty. No people, no vehicles, no sign that anyone had ever been there. I spent the rest of the night convincing myself it had been a dream, a half-asleep hallucination, stress, exhaustion, anything but reality. The next day I almost laughed about it. By evening I convinced myself it never happened. Then came Wednesday night. I went to sleep around midnight, and once again, I woke up. My eyes opened suddenly, as if someone had shaken me awake. Before I even looked at the clock, I already knew the time. Somehow I knew. Slowly, I turned my head. 3:07 a.m. Exactly. A cold feeling settled into my stomach, because deep down I already knew what I was going to see. The window. I looked, and there it was. The figure, standing outside in exactly the same place, watching. This time I didn't move, neither did it. We simply stared at each other. The figure appeared human, but something about it felt wrong. The proportions, the posture, the stillness. No person stands that still, not for that long. Minutes passed. Neither of us moved. Then something happened that still makes my skin crawl. The figure slowly raised its arm and pointed directly at me. I immediately jumped backward. My shoulder slammed into the wall. By the time I looked back, the figure was gone. Again. The following morning, I barely slept. I checked every security camera angle available in the building. Nothing. No suspicious activity, no intruders, no recordings of anyone outside my apartment. The property manager thought I was joking. When I explained what I saw, he laughed. "You're on the 12th floor. Nobody can stand outside your window." I wanted to believe him. I really did. But Thursday night arrived, and at exactly 3:07 a.m., I woke up again. This time, before opening my eyes, I already knew. It was waiting. And when I looked toward the glass, I realized something terrifying. The figure was closer, much closer. The first night, it had stood several feet away. The second night, maybe a little closer. Now it stood directly against the window, its face only inches from the glass. And for the first time, I could see that it was smiling. I didn't sleep for the rest of the night. How could I? Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that smile. Not because it looked evil, because it looked familiar. I couldn't explain why. There was something about it that bothered me, something my brain recognized but refused to understand. The next morning I called in sick to work. I spent hours trying to come up with a logical explanation. Sleep paralysis, stress, a recurring nightmare, anything. But deep down, I knew what I had seen. That thing was real, or at least it felt real. That evening I made a decision. If it appeared again, I was going to photograph it. I set my phone beside the bed. Camera ready, video mode open. I wasn't going to rely on memory anymore. I wanted proof. Around midnight, I finally fell asleep. And just like the previous nights, I woke up suddenly. My eyes immediately darted to the clock. 3:07 a.m. My heart dropped. Slowly, I turned toward the window. The figure was there, waiting, its face pressed against the glass. That same unsettling smile. My hands trembled as I grabbed my phone. I pointed the camera at the window and pressed record. The figure didn't react. It simply stared, watching me, watching every movement. I recorded for nearly 20 seconds. Then, without warning, the figure tilted its head, almost curious, like it was studying me, and then it disappeared. Gone. Just like before. The moment sunlight filled my apartment, I opened the video. My hands were shaking. I expected validation, proof, evidence. Instead, I felt something far worse. The window was empty. The entire video showed nothing. No figure, no face, no smile, just rain sliding down the glass. I watched it 3 times, then 4, then 5. Nothing. The figure wasn't there. But I knew what I'd seen. The following night, I tried something different. I invited my friend Jason over. I didn't tell him the entire story, only that I thought someone had been watching my apartment. He agreed to stay the night. At exactly 3:07 a.m., I woke up. The room was dark. The city lights flickered beyond the glass. And there it was, standing outside the window, closer than ever. I immediately shook Jason awake. "Look." Jason rubbed his eyes. "What?" "The window." He turned, looked directly at it. For several seconds he said nothing. Then he looked back at me, confused. "Adam, what am I supposed to be looking at?" My stomach sank. The figure was still there. I could see it perfectly. Yet Jason couldn't. He walked to the glass, looked outside, even placed his hand where the figure's face should have been. Nothing. He saw absolutely nothing. The next morning, Jason suggested I see a doctor. Maybe stress, maybe insomnia, maybe something psychological. I wanted to believe him. But that theory died 2 nights later. Because something changed. The figure moved. For the first time, I woke up at 3:07 a.m., looked toward the window, and found it standing there, watching, smiling. Then, slowly, it raised one hand and tapped the glass 3 times. Tap, tap, tap. The sound echoed through my apartment. Clear as day, my blood turned cold. Because this time, it wasn't just something I could see, I could hear it. The tapping continued every few seconds, always 3 taps, Always the same rhythm, tap, tap, tap. I covered my ears. The sound didn't stop. Then, just as suddenly as it started, silence. The figure remained motionless, still smiling, still watching, and then it vanished. The next morning I checked the window. My breath caught in my throat. 3 marks. On the outside of the glass, 3 long scratches. Exactly where the tapping had come from. For the first time, I had physical evidence, something impossible, something real. I immediately contacted building security. They reviewed every camera surrounding the tower. Hours of footage, every angle, every floor, nothing. No one had approached my apartment. No one had climbed the building. No one had been outside the window. According to every camera, nothing had happened. Yet the scratches remained. That night, I couldn't stop staring at them. And that's when I noticed something else. Something I should have noticed days earlier. The scratches weren't random. They formed a shape. 3 lines. Perfectly spaced. Almost like the number. A chill ran through my body. Because suddenly, I remembered something. When I moved into the apartment, the previous tenant had left in a hurry. The property manager mentioned it casually, said the guy broke his lease, and disappeared. At the time, I never thought much about it. Now I did. The next day, I searched for his name online. It took hours, but eventually I found him. A social media profile abandoned 3 years earlier. The final post stopped me cold. It had been uploaded at exactly 3:07 a.m. The message contained only 1 sentence. It's getting closer every night. And beneath the post was a photograph, a dark apartment window, rain on the glass, and a tall figure standing outside, smiling. I couldn't stop staring at the photograph. The previous tenant had seen it too. The same figure, the same window, the same smile. And according to the timestamp, he had posted it exactly 3 years earlier. At 3:07 a.m., for the first time since this started, I realized something terrifying. Whatever was outside my window, it hadn't chosen me. It had been here long before I moved in. I spent the next few days trying to track down the previous tenant. The internet gave me almost nothing. No recent activity, no address, no phone number, nothing. It was as if he had vanished. Then I found an old discussion forum, buried deep in the search results. Most of the posts were deleted, but one thread remained. The username matched the previous tenant, and the final post sent a chill down my spine. It read, "If you can see it, don't let it reach the glass." That was it. No explanation, no details, just that warning. Don't let it reach the glass. I read the sentence over and over again, but it was already too late. Because every night, the figure was getting closer, and now it was already touching the window. The next evening, I prepared myself. No sleeping pills, no distractions, no television. I sat in a chair facing the window, determined to stay awake, determined to see exactly what happened at 3:07 a.m. Hours passed. Midnight, 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Rain tapped softly against the glass. The city lights shimmered below. Everything felt normal. Then my phone buzzed. I glanced down for less than a second. When I looked back at the clock, it read 3:07 a.m. My stomach dropped. I had no memory of the last hour, none. One moment it was 2:03, the next it was 3:07, and the figure was there, closer than ever, its face pressed firmly against the glass, smiling, watching, waiting. For several seconds, neither of us moved. Then, slowly, the figure lifted one hand and placed its palm against the window. A handprint appeared on the glass from the outside. I wanted to run, but I couldn't move. My body felt frozen. Then the figure did something it had never done before. It opened its mouth and spoke. The voice was faint, almost impossible to hear through the glass. But I understood every word. It said, "You finally see me." A wave of panic surged through me. I stumbled backward. The figure remained still smiling. Then it spoke again, this time louder. I was waiting. The room suddenly felt colder. The lights flickered, the rain intensified. And then I noticed something horrifying. The figure wasn't outside anymore. It was inside. Not completely, just one hand. Its arm was slowly emerging through the glass, as if the window wasn't solid, as if it were passing through water. I screamed, fell backward, and scrambled toward the apartment door. The figure continued moving, slowly, patiently, its smile never changing, its eyes never leaving mine. Then I saw its face clearly for the first time, and that's when I understood everything. The figure wasn't a stranger, it wasn't a ghost, it wasn't a demon, it was me. The same face, the same eyes, the same scar above my eyebrow, everything identical, except for one thing. Its skin was pale, almost gray, like something that had spent years in darkness. I couldn't breathe. My mind refused to accept what I was seeing. Yet, I knew it was true. The thing outside my window was me, or at least some version of me. The figure smiled wider, then whispered, "My turn." The apartment went dark. Every light died instantly. The room disappeared into complete blackness. For several seconds, I heard nothing. Then the lights returned. The rain was gone, the figure was gone, everything was normal. I sat there trembling until sunrise. When morning finally arrived, I packed my belongings. I didn't tell anyone what happened. I didn't call the police. I simply left, and I never returned. For months, nothing happened. No figure, no strange dreams, nothing. Eventually, I convinced myself it was over. Then one evening, 3 months later, I was brushing my teeth before bed. I happened to glance at the bathroom mirror. At first, everything seemed normal. My reflection stared back at me, exactly as it should. Then I blinked, and my reflection didn't. For a fraction of a second, it continued smiling, even though I wasn't. I froze. The smile vanished immediately. Everything looked normal again. But I knew what I'd seen, and sometimes, late at night, I still wake up suddenly, without any reason, without any sound. I open my eyes, reach for my phone, and check the time. Because part of me is terrified that one night it will be 3:07 a.m., and I'll see myself standing outside the window again, waiting for another turn.